Good morning. Okay, sorry, the lighting is kind of, I don't think this is going to be any better, but you know, well, maybe it's a little better. I don't know. Just want you guys to be able to see me. The sun is just now rising. I have been up for the past 2.5 hours. I'm trying to adjust to the daylight savings time adjustment and the days getting shorter. At least the daylight hours getting shorter. So I'm up, I'm at it, and today, as you hear over there, my dehydrator is still going. I'm dehydrating those apples still, and as soon as those are done, I will bring you guys back and show you that. That's going to be in a different video. I will link it up here, although I think this video is going to go, I don't know if this video is going to go before that or after that. It's going to depend on which one gets done first, right? So in any event, I will link it up above for you. That is dehydrating apples. Today's going to be another apple recipe, except we're going to be canning some apples. You know, 'tis the season. It is apple season here in Michigan. So I am going to do a recipe inspired by a recipe here in the Better Homes and Gardens Jams and Jellies books. This is a book that was gifted to me by my friend Paul. This is one of his favorite books, and I love this book. There's just so many good things in here. I found this recipe. It's called Apple Cherry Chutney, and I want to do this recipe with a twist. So we are not going to be doing apple cherry. We are going to be doing apple cranberry because Thanksgiving is coming for those of us in the US. And I really want to make a condiment. First off, I want to make an hors d'oeuvre because, you know, everybody's hungry before you get the turkey out on the table, right? And there you go. Let me pop that open. So I want to be able to put something delicious and pour it over a brick of cream cheese, serve it with some crackers or some of those little toasty rounds, and let everyone kind of feast on something while I'm cooking. So I want an hors d'oeuvre. I also want a condiment of some sort to make for leftover turkey sandwiches for the next day. So I found this recipe and I think it's going to be perfect. So we are going to do an apple cranberry chutney. So it's going to be sweet, but it's going to be also a little savory. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. In this recipe, it calls for apples, cherries, brown sugar, vinegar, sweet onion, red sweet pepper, cardamom, and salt. We are going to do it a little differently. We are going to do the apples, and instead of the cherries, we're going to do cranberries. That's going to be our tart. We're going to do brown sugar. I made homemade brown sugar last night, so that is ready to go. We're still going to do the apple cider vinegar. We're going to do a cup of sweet onions. We're going to do where it calls for the red sweet pepper. I think I'm going to mix it with red, yellow, and orange sweet peppers because I have mini sweet peppers that are organic that I'm going to be using. And instead of the cardamom, we're going to put thyme because cardamom to me just goes with sweet. When I think of cardamom, I think of pumpkin pie, apple pie. I want it more savory than that. So we're going to add thyme and then of course a little bit of salt. So I plan on making some homemade bread. I don't know if I'm going to do a rye, a marble rye, or I might do a dark rye, but I'm thinking a smear of this on homemade rye bread with your leftover turkey for a cold turkey sandwich after Thanksgiving is going to be fantastic. Also great for Christmas because it's still cranberry, you know, so you could use it for Christmas. I think it would be great on a ham sandwich if you're doing like honey baked ham and you're doing leftover, or you're doing cold ham sandwiches or even hot ham sandwiches. Many times I'll do a ham and then I'll do like a spiral sliced honey glazed ham and then make sandwiches and serve it with a bunch of different breads. So I'm thinking even a smear of this on homemade bread would be phenomenal. So turkey, And chicken is on my mind, ham is on my mind. The holidays, I think, is gonna be fantastic. So that's what we're gonna make. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna start prepping my apples. I'm gonna get all my apples out. I'm gonna start chopping them up. I'm gonna chop up my onion. I'm gonna use my Chop Wizard Pro for all of that. I'll leave a link down below on Amazon for it if you want one. I have been using this a lot lately. I am loving it because it gives me the perfect, like, the perfect size cubes. It's fantastic for canning. So I'm gonna get all that prepped. Then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna put it all together in a pot. This, because it's a chutney, we're not, for beginner newbie canners, this is going to be perfect for you because we're not going to be adding pectin. We're not going to do any of that. We're not playing with, you know, clear gel. We're not playing with any of that. We are just going to slow cook this down. It's going to cook for about an hour until we get it to a thickness that we like, and then we're going to put it in jars and get it in our water bath canner. I will be using the electric, the Ball electric water bath canner. Again, I'll leave a link for it down below. I've been loving this canner so much, so much. I've been using it for everything. So we're gonna pull that out and we're gonna use that. If you don't have the electric canner, you can use a stovetop water bath canner is fine. If you don't have a canner, you can even use a stock pot as long as you have enough for, you know, 2 inches of water above your jars and a lid. You're good. Put something on the bottom. You can use canning rings on the bottom of your zip tie, some canning rings together. Use that as a rack on the bottom. You just don't want to put your jars on the bottom of your pot. You just want to make sure that there's something down there. So you can make a makeshift rack if you don't have one, but they're cheap enough at Walmart. They sell them at Walmart. So, all right, I'm gonna stop blabbling. Good morning, happy Monday, and let's get canning. Okay, just to show you how I'm using the Chop Wizard for anyone who doesn't have one. I bought this quite a long time ago, and you know, I don't use it nearly as much as I should, and now that I have it out, I've been using it every day. So this is how I do it. I have my apples in my sink all washed off. So I just go ahead and I cut the chunks off in my apples. Okay. These, by the way, are going to my compost, but you could use it to cook down and make apple jelly if you wanted. So we've got that, and then I put it on the Chop Wizard. So I kind of make this so that I can peel them easier. And then put them on my Chop Wizard, and then push down, and then it gives you, I'm telling you, it gives you the best little cubed apples. And then I go ahead and I pop them right into lemon water. And it would be easier, Heather, if you just took off the lid and put down the knife. See? Alright. And then in that bowl, I have 1 cup lemon juice and a couple of cups of ice cold water. So that's how I'm doing it. You do what's easier for you, though. This is just the way that I'm doing it, and I'm just showing and sharing just in case we have some newbies out there who have never prepped apples before. And I just know, as somebody who had never done it before, sometimes that kind of stuff is overwhelming because I'm not quite sure. I wasn't quite sure like how to get started or in what order I should do things in. So I am sharing in case there's one person out there that needed that kind of help, the kind of help that I needed when I first started. So so I'm just gonna keep going here. I'm taking off, when I peel my apples, I also take off any bruising, anything bad. I don't like any blemishes at all. With that, I'm gonna keep going. and keep chopping apples until I get 8 cups worth. All right, so now we are on to the sweet onion part. So I went ahead and took my ends off and the skin, and I have them in my compost bucket that will go out to my compost bin. And then sometimes just cutting it into quarters is a little bit easier to do on the Chop Wizard. And I need 1 cup of onion. So I'm gonna go ahead and just, I think that nice sized onion might be what I need. And this might actually give me more. Yeah, that's more than 1 cup. So take some out. I'll use that in some tuna salad for lunch. So I'm putting that in I'm putting all of this in my water with lemon juice as I cut it and prep it. So I have my washed cranberries in here, 1.5 cups, a cup of the onion, the sweet onion. I'm just kind of putting it all in my bowl so it can keep nice and chilled while I prep. So the next thing I'm gonna prep are the sweet peppers. So here are my washed sweet peppers. Majority of what was in the bag was red, so most of them are gonna be red, and I just popped in a couple of yellow and an orange. They're called Mighty Minis, and I get them at Aldi. These are the organic ones, half like that. We're gonna just put that right through the Chop Wizard just like that. So I'm cutting off the top, taking out the seeds, cut it in half, put it on my wizard, and push it through. So there is 1 cup of sweet peppers. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to my water as well. And then what I will use is one of these mesh strainers when I go ahead and strain all of this out when it's time. So that's how I do. And all right, let me get everything ready to start making this chutney. I'm so excited. Just to show you, I'm using the Ball Fresh Tech electric water bath canner. I have it set to high. I am adding my water to this. I'm also going to be adding a splash of vinegar to this water. I will use the vinegar that I use in my ramekin to wipe down my rims. I'll put the rest of it in here because I do have hard water. I am on well water. Even though we have a whole house water softener, I still get that white residue on my jars. So I'm going to be adding some vinegar. I do keep the valve open so that I can easily drain this water when I'm done. I like to keep the spigot right over my my kitchen sink, so when I'm done with the canning process, I can go ahead, turn that spigot on, and everything drains down my drain. And it's so nice not to have to lug a heavy water bath canner from my stove to my sink. So especially with fibromyalgia and arthritis in my hands, it's just, this is a game changer for me. So I have a sink full of hot soapy water and all of my jars. So what I'm going to do here is start washing up my jars. I'm going to wash that stuff up first, and then we'll get to canning here. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and plop that right down at the bottom so our jars don't sit on the very bottom of this canner. I'm not going to fill this all the way up. I'm going to fill it a little more than half, and then I'm going to wash these jars up, put them in the canner, and let them get hot. But I don't want to overfill this canner because by the time we put the jars in with product inside, the water level is automatically going to rise. So a little more than half. And then what happens is once you get your jars in here, as long as there's 1 to 2 inches of water covering the tops of your jars, you're fine. If you need to add a little more hot water to it, you can. This water is going to be, you know, hot. I have it on high. Just add some hot water from the tap to it and you'll be fine, just to make sure that your jars are submerged enough. So with that said, I'm going to now wash up my jars, get them in here, and get them set, and then we are going to start putting our chutney together, get it on the stove, because that's going to take an hour. So I'm actually going to do that before I even wash these up, just to get that process going. And in the meantime, I'm going to be stripping all the curtains down in my house to wash them all. So I'm going to get those in the washer while the chutney's cooking. So all right, let's get started. Guys, so I have you lovingly, gingerly balanced on the side of my pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my bowl over. I'm going to put it through the strainer. I'm going to add all of these ingredients right to my pot. Okay. This is 8 cups of apples, 1.5 cups of cranberries, 1 cup of sweet onion, and 1 cup of sweet peppers. It calls for red peppers. I added a little orange and yellow just to make it a little pretty. But you could do just red if you want. You can do the cherries if you want. You don't have to do the cranberries. Cranberries were 99 cents at Aldi's, and I quite frankly looked at them and said, I need 4 bags. And then I thought, okay, what do I do with you? Because I have cranberry jelly on my pantry, and I have a video of cranberry jelly. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something savory. I really am looking for ways to kind of liven up Thanksgiving leftovers. Because quite frankly, you know, just having a hot turkey sandwich, don't get me wrong, is delicious. But I have my boys coming. They all love the sandwiches, the cold turkey sandwiches. And so I thought they would really enjoy this. So there's all of our chunky chunk ingredients. Now we're going to add the additional. To this, we are adding 2 cups of packed brown sugar. Now I'm using my homemade brown sugar. I will leave a link up above to the video of how I make my own brown sugar. Once you make your own, I promise you, you'll never go back to buying store-bought in a bag again. It's so good, and it's so fresh, and it's so much better than the stuff you buy at the store. It calls for 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. I'm using an organic apple cider vinegar with the mother in this. It also calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I am using canning salt in mine because I plan to can it. 1/2 teaspoon of that. And then we are making this one savory, so I am going to be adding 2 teaspoons of organic thyme to this. Rosemary would also be fantastic. There is that, and that's going to be my savory, and I think that's going to be so good on turkey or chicken. And with that, we are going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this on the heat. I'm going to put mine on medium. This is sitting on my power burner. My power burner is 21,000 BTU, so it really does require much less heat, if you will. I am also going to be grabbing my wooden spoon, and I'm going to stir this up. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to reduce this on a simmer. And then this, oh my God, it smells so good. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Then we're going to let this simmer on a low for an hour until this thickens up beautifully. And I am, I'm super excited about this. So I went ahead and after an hour, I increased the heat. I put it back to a medium and brought it to a boil again, just to kind of cook it down a little bit more. And then I have a frozen spoon here that's been sitting in my freezer, and I really just want to test the set on this to see if I need to cook it down a little bit more to thicken it, and I think it needs a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on medium and cook this down just a little bit more until it gets a little bit thicker, just a little bit.
So I'm gonna set my timer really for 5 minutes, because I think really that's all I need on this. Just want to make sure you keep stirring it. You don't want it to burn. It did slow cook on simmer for an hour. And so now I'm just gonna finish it off and get it down to the thickness that I really want it to be at. It smells incredible. Also taste it. I did end up adding 1 more tablespoon of brown sugar to it because I thought it was a little tart, and that could be because I'm using cranberries instead of cherries. So I went ahead and added 1 more tablespoon of brown sugar, but taste it and tweak it the way you want, whether or not you think it needs a little bit more vinegar or a little bit more sugar, whatever. And there we have it. So I'm gonna let that cook for 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna bring you back and we're gonna can this in jars. I'm so excited. All right, time to get to canning. Now, I am going to do a couple of these more decorative jars. I'm going to bring 1 jar out of my cabinet just to hold my funnel. Keep it clean and off my towel. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and can this up. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely perfect. So just running it on a medium just to boil some of that liquid a little thicker was perfect. Now these little decorative jars are really pretty. I buy these around the holiday because they are really pretty to give as gifts. So these few that I put in here will be for gifts. We want 1/2 inch. Get down low. Get down low. And then what's great about these particular Pokey Joes is that they do have a measuring on it for 1/2 inch. So we are sitting at pretty much 1/2 inch, which is good. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and get a napkin or paper towel. I'm using straight vinegar. I do not add water to it. Straight vinegar. I'm going to clean that rim off. Again, turning the napkin as you go because you don't want to keep recontaminating by using the same place in your napkin over and over. Okay. And then we are going to get a lid on this. Okay, I have my pot of hot water I brought over from my sink. And I always put my lids in my rings. I always wash them with hot soapy water. Even if they're new, especially if they're new, you don't know where they've been out of that box. Wash them up, and then I start soaking mine about 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes before I do the canning project. That way the compound is softened. I have better luck this way than not soaking. I know technically you don't have to soak them anymore, but you know, don't fix what ain't broke. Fingertip tight. And there we have it. Look at that. Look at that. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that right into my canner. We're going to do another one of these jars. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that. All that goodness right inside that jar. This is definitely something you want to make sure you are debubbling as you go. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, we just need a little bit more in there. Just a little, just a smidgen. Just a smidgen, Heather. And don't drop any goodness. What is the matter with you? Okay, just a little bit. There we go. Let's get that in there. All right, eyeball it. Perfect, exactly 1/2 inch. The more you can, the more you'll know what a 1/2 inch is. Okay. And then put another wide mouth lid on this and ring. Hot, hot, hot. Fingertip tight. And that, my friends, is jar number 2. Oh, this makes me so happy. All right, now let's do a regular jelly jar. And I'm gonna go ahead, because this will drive me crazy, I'm gonna go ahead and pick that part up. Throw that away. All right, there we go. Definitely a chutney, nice and thick. And let's see how much more I'll need out of there. So we definitely want to debubble. Get all that goodness down in there. And we just need a smidgen more. Definitely a gift of love right here. All right. 1/2 inch headspace. Beautiful. I'm gonna get a new napkin. Dip, squeeze, and let's clean it. Okay, there we go. See that? That's why you want to constantly turn and use a clean part of your napkin. All right. We are going to grab a regular mouth, which of course are all on the bottom. There we go. And a ring. Have a towel close by if you need one. My hands are really bothering me today. So, you know, weather, cold, arthritis, never a good combo. Look at that. Oh, look at that. So beautiful, so beautiful. Okay, in the canner you go, beauty. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep canning here. We'll see how many jars I end up with. Oh, this makes my heart so happy. I was able to get 9 jars in here. And I kind of thought I might, just because I added a little bit extra brown sugar, and I think a lot of my little pieces kind of turned to mush into liquid. But 9 jars. And, oh, and my little 4-ounce jars are a little smaller. So, all right. There we go. So I set this to canning. I'm going to wait for this to come to a rolling boil, by the way. Luckily, I remembered my vinegar. So I'm going to pour my vinegar in the water. That's going to help with cloudiness from my hard water. Once it comes to a rolling boil, we're going to process this for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to turn it off, take off the lid, let it sit and rest for 5 minutes. I'm going to bring these out of the canner. And when I do that, I will bring you guys back. Right. Now we're going to pull these beauties from the canner. Oh, so pretty. I'm going to love having this in my pantry. And this is going to be so good for Christmas. Usually I do a honey baked ham, and we do like ham sandwiches and, you know, cold cuts, and we do a big sit down meal for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas it's more of a buffet. So, you know, cold sides, hot sides, you know, this will be so good on a ham sandwich with honey ham. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, you guys, I hope you give this a try. And if you do, I hope you come back and let me know what you think. If you make videos, I hope you make me a video response. If you do, I'll leave a card to your video up above. How about that? And we will share the love and share the love of canning, man. This is like, this is what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give this a try. So pretty. But I hope you, if you don't know how to can, I hope you want to learn how to can. Because that's my goal. That's my goal with doing these videos. I really want to get to a point where I'm helping to inspire everybody to learn how to can, because it is a fantastic life skill to know. So with that, I'm gonna listen to my pings. I'm gonna clean up my mess, and yeah, happy canning. All right, I'll see you soon, guys.